So good morning. It is so nice to see all of these faces here today as we celebrate and begin a new era for the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. Today we are celebrating a number of Year 1 accomplishments, but we're also welcoming new teams to the department: Juvenile Rehabilitation, the Office of Juvenile Justice, and the Child Care Subsidy Program. I also want to give a special hello to all of our staff who are live streaming this event and to those who will be watching it recorded at a later date. Thank you for celebrating with us. So my name is Jody Becker, and I am honored to serve as the Deputy Secretary for the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. I come to work every day because our department has one of the most laudable missions in state government: to protect and strengthen children, youth, and families so they flourish. Our work and our relationships are anchored in 5 core values: inclusion, respect, integrity, compassion, and transparency. Like me, I hope that you try to live those values every day through your words and through your actions with your colleagues, your peers, our partners, our tribal nations, and most importantly, the children, youth, and families that we serve. Before we go further in today's agenda and hear from our featured speakers, I'm very excited to unveil the DCYF logo. So work on this logo began in the fall of 2018. As many of you recall, we've had the green George Washington logo for the first year of our existence. I want to give a big thank you to our Office of Communications, the Office of Change Management, to all of the staff who participated in staff branding activities and surveys, our staff engagement workshops, to our stakeholders who participated in feedback sessions, and to Deloitte for their consultation services. A lot of thought, a lot of work, a lot of voting, a lot of gathering opinions has gone into this logo. Many of you who've logged on to your computers this morning may have already seen it. So we are very excited to have a symbol that represents the unifying services and supports that are provided by our agency. Cue the logo. Yay! Oh dear. Thank you, Heather. Thank you. So as we begin our agenda, we have a number of featured speakers. Our first speaker is Secretary Ross Hunter, and of note this morning, Secretary Hunter is wearing a bow tie that coincidentally looks a lot like the colors of our logo, so I'm not sure if that was planned. Secretary Hunter?
So that's creepy. When you clap a lot, the hum goes up from the... That's weird. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, we can turn it down. There you go.
Ooh, there we go. That's better. It's always good. Welcome. They made me not write long remarks. In fact, they made me not write remarks at all because I had all this policy stuff in my head, and people said, no, there's donuts, you're between them and donuts, it's a bad idea. So, Heather, you're right, it could be bigger. Do we have to have it be like really tiny on our letterhead and stuff? No, it's cool. Oh, she's coming back down. You had some movie reference that I just didn't understand. Some Stonehenge reference. I don't know, someone will get it. So, Spinal Tap. Okay. So yet again, I'm clueless about pop culture. So we're really excited. You know what I'm really excited about this morning? I came in and Nicole said, we're taking calls, the call center, all the phone lines are working. And then I could see Mary Beth here and she wasn't all worried. So that's a good sign. That means that the locks still work. Another good reason to not have computer-controlled electronic locks that would all open at midnight or something else. No, that would be a bad idea, right? That would be a bad idea. So all of the sort of disaster scenarios that we thought about have not yet come to pass. My favorite was we were trying to imagine the disasters ahead of time so that we could, like, do we have a backup plan? Are we sure that's not going to be a problem? And the biggest thing that we were worried about was if the computer system that kept track of our young offenders in JR didn't work. Like, what would we do? And we're all like obsessing about this in the meeting, and our CIO, Aaron, is sitting there and he's just sort of smiling, and I finally sort of look at him and he says, yeah, we moved that system 3 months ago, we just didn't tell you. And that's sort of been the story of this transition. This is round 2 of bringing together 3 big parts of multiple agencies, and round 2 is easier than round 1. And so the mechanical part of doing this transition is over, except for how many hundred service level agreements do we have?
About 120.
120 service level agreements with DSHS about how do we do this, and we're just going to have to work away from those slowly over time. But I think the real message is now that we get, as a group, to focus on improving outcomes for kids, and bringing us together brings a lot of synergy, brings a lot of energy. If this room is any example of all of the millions of people who are watching us on this webcast, probably not actually, but maybe 1,000, that'd be cool. We have an opportunity to change the trajectory for children, for adolescents, for youth, and for the families that they're part of here in Washington. And I am, for one, really, really looking forward to that opportunity to not be worried about, does the leave tracking system work, and are we all going to get paid? The answer is yes. We've done multiple simulations and dry runs of that. We're ready to go. We're not. That's one we got right last time. So we want to make sure that we're doing those things. But now you'll see us switching over to how do we make the world better? How do we launch our young people so that they're as successful in society as the rest of our kids? I mean, the main goal of all of us as parents is to have them move out of the basement, but not too far away, right? Because I'm coming up on I can almost taste the grandparent thing, not quite, but I don't want them to go far away, but I want them to not live at home, right? So there's like this thing, and all levity aside, that's the goal for all the kids that we're working with, is that they're successful. They move on from us, they're successful, and they don't come back to live with us. And we can make a big change. I'm looking forward to it, and I have exceeded my limit of between you and donuts.
Thank you, Ross. Now please join me in welcoming Deputy Secretary Heather Moss to the stage, who's going to talk a little bit about the transition.
Hi, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. You have no idea. We've been waiting, right, for 2.5 years to get to this day. So now, finally now, we can go to work. Because I'm sure you've all just been waiting, right, and not doing much until today. So now it's time to go to work. Hi, I'm Heather Moss. I'm Deputy Secretary of Operations and Infrastructure. Today is such a bittersweet day for me because, like I just said, we've been waiting 2.5 years, maybe sometimes more for some of us, to get to this day where we are finally one single agency. But we're coming up on one of my last days here at DCYF, so I'm very happy to be here and to have led many of you through this transition and this journey, but very sad to be leaving you all in a couple of days. I want to take a minute to recognize and and share with you all the work that's been happening over these last few months and couple of years. The first phase, so all of last year, we were able to deliver staff paychecks on time. We were able to keep your email operational. We built on that, and we were not worried going into phase 2 at all, as you heard Ross talk about. This year, we've spent a lot of time creating new positions and hiring new staff to manage much more of our back office operations. We moved some folks around. We aligned some IT systems. It's been a really busy year. We also created 5 priorities for our agency. One of those priorities is make this transition work well for our staff, and I believe that we've done that, and today is a real testament to that. That did not come without a lot of work, though, and I think it's important now to recognize that work. So while we've been delivering services to the children, youth, and families of Washington State, we've also been building an agency and preparing for this day. It didn't come easy. We've had multiple work groups. There were at least 6 work groups working on this transition over the last 2 years, and there was a transition team that met weekly. Our first year as an agency, that was led by Lynn McGuire. Many of you interacted with her. The second year, it was led by Tony Sebastian, who is here with us today. I also want to recognize the other members of the transition team who did such a great job getting us here, because while they were doing their regular jobs of supporting the work of DCYF, they were also preparing for this transition. So they were really holding down at least 2 jobs. All while we had lots of vacancies, we didn't have our systems in place, we didn't have a lot of policy and procedure. So this group of people deserves an extra round of attention. Jenny, our CFO, Erin, our CIO, Tony, whom I already mentioned, Edith, who will be stepping up and taking on some of my assignments when I leave here in a few days, Marcos with Human Resources, Annie, Change Management Extraordinaire, Jakob with our Facilities Program, Deborah, Communications, thank you for all of this great logo work, Nancy Gutierrez, Mary Beth, of course, one of our partners in crime in making today happen, and Rebecca as well, Nicole, who you'll hear from in a minute, and my trustee sidekick, Maureen. This team has been working relentlessly over the last year and a half to make this work for you and to get us to this day. So please join me in thanking them in a round of applause. Awesome work, team. I'm just so proud of you and happy to be a part of it. So in closing, I can assure you that we have a committed team who is ready to continue doing the great work of transforming the work that we do for children, youth, and family. As for me, I'm not going to be too far away. I'll be just up the road watching what you do and looking on with a little bit of nostalgia and excitement to see what happens here. It's been a pleasure to serve with all of you and work for you and alongside you as we've gone through this journey. And I know that you're going to continue making great progress as Ross continues to lead you through with his vision for what the future holds for DCYF. So thank you, and yay for all of us for today.
Thank you, Heather. And I will have to say I will miss Heather tremendously as she moves on to her next journey in life, and want to say a huge thank you for your leadership, for holding all of this team together during the transition, and for all of that work on the operations and infrastructure. Your leadership and contributions will be missed. Thank you. So now we get to welcome one of the newest leadership members to the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, Mary Beth Cayrall, who serves as our Assistant Secretary of Juvenile Rehabilitation. Please join me in welcoming Mary Beth.
Good morning, everyone. Finally, it's official. We are members of DCYF and no longer the guest at the table. I won't go into and this has been years of discussing and planning, so I really appreciate this day. We're looking forward to many things as far as being a part of DCYF. Expanded opportunities for the youth that we serve, broader support and advocacy for our staff, and just that healing-centered approach, and I think safety and security, looking at that. And I want to thank Ross and leadership. Secretary Hunter was instrumental with us getting, in this current enacted budget, a number of FTE that I don't remember in my time with JR us ever receiving so many FTE. So he heard us, he believes in the work that we do, and he understood that there was a need for FTE for safety and security. So thank you. We are champions of Secretary Hunter's 5 key priorities. Making it work. Making it work is about strengthening our existing services, so we all can get behind that. Managing a successful transition. That's today, right? But it's not a one and done. We have a lot of work, but that is about integrating juvenile rehab, the Office of Juvenile Justice, and child care subsidy program into the current DCYF. It's also about developing a culture, and this, we need to be intentional, we need to be inclusive and strength-based, and we will have a healthy agency culture. I'm excited about that one. Expanded service array, of course, and then also creating that long-term strategy for the individuals that we serve. Like Heather said, I want to thank all the many people who have worked tirelessly, and especially the back office across DSHS and also DCYF to make this a smooth and successful transition. Government agencies are tied together. There are with other parts, right? And it's like unweaving this big ball of yarn and then creating something new out of that. And that takes a tremendous amount of work, time, dedication, creativity, and detail work. So I can't say thank you enough because, like I was just saying to Ross, it feels like, or Secretary Hunter, I should be more formal, right? That it's kind of a little eerily successful. You expected some glitches. We knew there would be a few little things, but being a part of phase 2, we did learn from phase 1. And because phase 1, there was the stand-up of a new agency, and then we join, has worked out really, really well. So I want to thank everyone. And lastly, I'd like to highlight the presence of JR in a cabinet-level agency. We were in a cabinet-level agency with DSHS, but we had 900 employees in JR or thereabouts, and out of 19,000 DSHS employees. So we were about 0.5% of the entire makeup of DSHS. And in DCYF, we make up about 20% of the staff base. So that's encouraging, and we are now a part of a cabinet-level agency that solely focuses on children, youth, and families. And this includes supporting young people that are touching the juvenile justice system, creating opportunities and access so that they can reach their potential. I believe in DCYF, and I think it's an excellent opportunity for the staff, the youth, the families, and communities across the state of Washington. I am dedicated to our mission, and I'm looking forward to this journey. So thank you.
Thank you, Mary Beth. So as mentioned, we have another piece coming over from Department of Social and Health Services. That's our child care subsidy program. Finally aligning the policy, the eligibility work together in one agency. Please join me in welcoming Nicole Rose, who is our Director of Eligibility and Provider Supports and will be overseeing this program.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Jody. I'm so excited to be here today and finally have subsidy policy and service delivery together in one place. I think this has been a long time coming, and I'm glad to have folks from both parts of the team here today. So this is a great opportunity for children, families, providers, and staff. We've created a child care specific contact center with our own toll-free line, and as Ross said, we are taking calls and it is working, which is a huge celebration. So bringing the subsidy policy and service delivery teams together will help us improve access and navigation of child care subsidy for families and providers as we support them with consistent and accurate information, with our services really focused on school readiness for children and economic self-sufficiency for families. We also think that having the teams together will really allow them to quickly and accurately embrace some of the constant changes that are happening around subsidy. And they'll be able to build a culture together of how they do that service delivery and policy implementation. This also better positions us for some of our upcoming legislative sessions and work groups, and helps us really think about how we simplify and streamline our subsidy rules. Our system can sometimes be hard to navigate, and we need to make it as easy as possible for our families and providers, because that is so essential to making sure that there is continuity of care and funding for children and families. I look forward to doing site visits to learn more about our collective work. We did participate in a lot of work groups, and a lot of people put a lot of time and energy into this, but getting out there and actually seeing eligibility phone calls, I think, will help us continue to improve and make the system better. And finally, I really just want to thank all of the team members that dedicated their time and expertise to work on this transition. We couldn't have done it without you, and we're going to meet the needs of providers and families out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. So we have one last speaker to hear from, and the last piece of DSHS joining the department. Please join me in welcoming Jenny Young, who is with the Office of Juvenile Justice.
Good morning. My name is Jenny Young. I'm the Juvenile Justice Manager at the Office of Juvenile Justice, and I'm actually speaking today on behalf of our director, Zaskia Krokrael. She's not able to be here today because she needs to take care of her family. So just to tell you a little bit about our office, we are a small but mighty team. There are 4 of us, and 50% of us are here today, so I think that's a very, very good showing. Our office was established by Governor's Executive Order 1503, and we also exist in order to ensure that Washington remains in compliance with the Juvenile Justice Delinquency and Prevention Act. Say that 5 times fast. So we make sure that Washington implements the 4 core requirements of that act, and that's the deinstitutionalization of status offenders, sight and sound separation, jail removal, and reducing racial and ethnic disparities. We are also the staff agency to the Governor's appointed council, the Washington Partnership Council on Juvenile Justice. The council is committed to eliminating racial and ethnic disparities in the juvenile justice system in Washington. This is a big lift, but it's something that we are relentless at. And we are excited about the partnerships now that we've officially joined DCYF to continue working on this very, very important goal for our youth, so that all youth have similar outcomes. All youth are set up to succeed, no matter where they come from, no matter who they call home, no matter where they live. And so we're really excited to join this family. Thank you so much, and we're looking forward to the future.
Thank you, Jenny. All right. So I've heard some incredible words today, common themes across all of our speakers: relentless, tireless, dedicated, outcomes-oriented, mission-driven. When I think of those words and I look across this room, I am confident that individually and collectively, we will achieve our mission, we will achieve our vision. Because all of you who are with us today, everyone who's watching back in your office, you all have a reason and a purpose why you show up, why you do the work that you do. I hope that you're energized or re-energized by the enthusiasm you feel from this room today. Our work is hard. We work long hours, but we all do it for a purpose. We all have that individual, that child, that young adult, that family that helps motivate and drive us to achieve great things. I'm very excited about our opportunities now because finally in the state of Washington, we have an opportunity to truly develop integrated service delivery systems across an age continuum to help prevent individuals and families from entering our services. And for those who need us, we will be there, delivering services in a way that makes sense and that are easy to navigate. So as we close today, for those in the room, please join us in room 1213, right behind to the left of the elevators, for some light refreshments and some networking with one another. One of the things we heard over the past year is, man, I really want to get to know people. I'm curious about what those early childhood, early learning people do. What is child welfare? Tell me about juvenile justice and child care subsidy. So today's an opportunity. Introduce yourself to someone new. Say hello, exchange an email, maybe make a coffee date, who knows. Also, while you're in there, and to our folks who are in your offices, we are very excited that we have some very cool DCYF swag to offer. So I'll do my banner moment here. So please, take a moment while you're here to pick up a poster. Very nice, our mission, vision, and values. And also, we have lanyards for everyone. So for those who are here, there's tables set up in the back of the room. In the offices, please grab yours. If you need more, please reach out to our Office of Communications, and you will be able to get as many as you need. So now is the time to clean out your offices, take down those old posters, and put these up, okay? Because we're going to be looking. So I know that we will work together as we continue to refine and unify around a single mission, vision, and core set of values. We're only successful as if we do this together. We all have a unique role to play. Each one of us contributes differently every day. And when we do that, we will accomplish great things. Thank you for joining us today for this celebratory moment. It marks the new era for the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. Thank you.